Recording has started.
Okay, testing, testing. This meeting's not in order at this point yet. Excellent. Hello, everyone. My name is Barbie Applequist. I'm the current interim chair of the Virginia Avenue Park Advisory Board. I'm looking forward to tonight's meeting. We have some new members that we're excited to announce to the public. And for everyone who's on this call, it is being recorded. That will be our official minutes for tonight's meeting for the public. I'd like to officially call this meeting to order at 7:02 p.m. Tonight, Monday, December 6th, 2021. I'm going to go ahead and start with the roll call. And as I go through the roll call, if you could make sure that you're unmuted when I call your name and just say present so that we have it recorded in our minutes. Okay, Barbie Applequist, present. Shirley Compton.
Present.
Thank you. Rosalinda Mayer.
Present.
Thank you. Abonisha Fisher.
Present.
Thank you. Gloria Garcia. Oh, Gloria, I think you're still muted. Can you turn off your microphone to unmute? Just turn off your microphone. The microphone, just turn. Oh, perfect.
Right. Present. I'm sorry.
No problem. Thank you, Gloria. Alemo Nagaro. Alemo, I know that you're here, I believe. You might be muted.
Can unmute him. Can I unmute him?
Perhaps, Lupe, can you unmute him in case he's having technical difficulties?
Actually, I think he doesn't have lost his audio. Looks like he lost his audio.
Yeah, can you hear me?
There he goes. He got it.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, Alemo, we hear you.
Yes.
Barbie, you're muted.
Yeah.
Sorry, Arcadio Cruz.
Present here. Can you hear me? I'm here, present.
You're muted again, Barbie.
You're muted, Barbie.
Sorry, thank you. Thank you. Let's see here. So I wanted to first thank you everyone for being here tonight. And I also want to make sure to welcome our new members. So just officially, I wanted to welcome Rosalinda, Abonisha, Alemu, and Arcadio. And if everyone's videos are on, that would be great so the public can see who you are. We're really excited to have you here tonight. And then we have next on our agenda is our election of officers. So is there a motion from the floor to elect officers, or anyone interested in stepping up to our new roles as our secretary and chair and vice chair? Or a motion to proceed as is?
I see that the chat function is disabled, but I did want to say there are 3 positions that you'll be voting for. You have the chair, the vice chair, and the secretary.
I move that we open up the board for elections.
Okay. Are there nominations from the floor for our first position would be secretary? let's see here. I'd like to nominate Gloria if she'd be interested, since she has served on the board for a couple of years.
For which position?
For secretary? That was a position held before by Carmen, who had to step down after this
Christina.
term.
Christina.
Yeah, sorry. Gloria, you're muted. Oh, Gloria, you're muted. Can you turn your microphone on?
Can you hear me?
Now
Hello?
we can. Yes, thank you.
It's scary for me. I don't know if I'm able to do that. I don't know what should I do.
So basically, at this point, I was secretary a few terms ago. It was mostly just making sure that if there were letters that needed to be sent, to working with Carla and staff, to making sure it said what we wanted it to say as a board, so that it could go to city council or go to whichever sort of body that we felt wanted to, or the Parks Commission, if we had something that we wanted to say that was on record.
I'm sorry. I think it's something a little bit hard for me, that with my limited language, I don't think I will be able to do that. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Is there another, Carla, my understanding is that someone needed to have served on the board for a while before they can be in a position for an officer. Is it possible?
No, you can be appointed.
Oh, okay.
We just read
Is
the
there-
bylaws. I think
Oh, that's right.
I don't think you have to have served. We'll double check that.
Is there someone who has recently joined the board who'd be interested in stepping up in this role? Either Rosalinda or Ebenesia or Elemu or Arcadio?
I honestly was hoping to, sit on the board for a year and kind of get my feet wet first, and before I stepped into one of the more leadership roles.
Okay, I understand. Perhaps Elemu? Would you be interested in being secretary? Again, it's just mostly working with Carla and her team, so that if we have to send a letter to city council, which we've done perhaps once every other year, and normally we draft it during the actual meeting.
Same here. I just see 1 year. Was first time, I don't want to step on positions.
It's always good to jump in. I just want to say.
I mean, I was my first position that I had. I think I was brand new on the board. I joined the board, and then a couple months later we had the retreat, and so I was asked to be secretary, and it was just mostly working with Carla and her team, Carla and Lupe, to get letters moving forward. It's a minimal amount of work. If you'd like to do more, it's awesome, but otherwise it's mostly just, if Carla or her team needs support, that you're there to help with that. Okay, if no one's raising their hand, that's okay. We can always appoint someone at another meeting.
Okay. I was going to say, if we can table that one, and I'll think about it. So I could and then maybe I wouldn't mind doing it.
Okay, that would be great. We can bring it up by perhaps the next meeting. We'll add it to old business to discuss at the next meeting for the next agenda. Okay, but we can move forward to the other position, which is vice chair. I'd like to nominate Shirley Compton if she'd be open and interested and able to serve in that capacity.
Thank you, Barbie. I do. I accept.
Oh, excellent. Thank you. Is there, do we need to vote on that, Carla? Or vote by acclamation?
Yeah, yes, you can, or you can do the whole slate,
Okay.
but you can do one at a time.
Is there anyone who'd be interested in serving as chair? Or any nominations from the floor for chair?
I nominate Barbie as chair. Barbie, what do you think about that?
I accept. Thank you, Shirley. I'm also open if there's others who'd like to step into that role. However, I know that the majority of the board is new, so I recognize kind of where we're at. Okay, so the current slate as is would be for just chair and vice chair. Is there a motion from the floor to vote by acclamation for those two positions? And voting by acclamation just means everyone agrees that that's what we're going to vote for. So instead of going individual one by one, everyone agrees that we'll vote for that person as chair and vice chair.
I
Is there a
move to
motion?
acclimate both of those positions.
Okay, thank you. So Ebenesia has a motion to vote by acclamation for chair for Barbie Applequist and vice chair Shirley Compton, and we're tabling secretary for the next meeting. Is there a second?
A second.
Okay, 11 seconds. All right. And so then my understanding is that then we go to a discussion. Is there any discussion? Okay, no discussion. So we'll move to the vote. Vote by acclamation. All those who support say aye. Aye, or raise your
Aye.
hand. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those who oppose say no or nay. Or okay. All right. So vote by acclamation. Shirley, congratulations on serving as vice chair for this current year. I'm excited.
Thank you,
Thank
and
you.
congratulations, Barbie.
Thank you,
Thank
Shirley.
you, Thank you,
It's
everyone.
so strange in virtual space because we can't all kind of talk at the same time. It's so hard. But I look forward to working with each of you, and for whoever our future secretary will be, I look forward to working with you as well. Now that we have,
Interrupt for a moment and just ask the person who just came in. Can you
sure.
They can share a name.
Was there, I'm sorry, Elizabeth, was there a question?
I wanted to see the person who just came in, the unidentified person, if they can share a name with us.
Oh, yes, please. Is that 323-806-0904? Hi, could you just let us know who you are or your relationship with the park, or if you're just an observer? Oh,
Hello?
hello, yes?
Oh, I should be on mute.
You're...
I'm in, this is Hajar. I'm from PCG.
Oh, hi. Nice to see you. How are you? Or nice to hear you.
Hi.
Thank you, Hajar.
I don't know why I'm not muted. Sorry.
No problem. I think Lupe is able to control that from her angle. And now we know we're here. Thank you for joining us this evening. Okay, so next is public input. Is there any public input on the items presented in the agenda that was published on the city's website, or any public comment or questions? Point? No? Okay, seeing there are none, we'll move forward with the reports. Our first report this evening is with the Santa Monica Police Department, Beat 3. We have Denny Melendez, our Neighborhood Resource Officer, and Halima Barreto of the Crime Prevention Coordinator.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. So Officer Melendez is in another meeting, but you have me. So I had the last month, I know that Officer Melendez had met with you for the last several months. I didn't see too much going on within the park as far as actual reports were coming up. What I did see were a couple of larcenies or thefts that happened, and the majority were happening at the basketball courts, with individuals leaving their backpacks or cell phones in their backpacks while they were playing basketball, and then people unfortunately taking their items while they were playing. I did see, so I had looked at just the past 3 months just to see kind of if there were any trends. I saw some more activity in October, sort of near the park. There was a motor vehicle theft, and a catalytic converter theft. And these were more just in the outskirts, but nothing within the exact space. So it, at least for reports itself, it seemed quite calm in the last several weeks. And as far as events that are coming up on our end, we have, I don't know if any of you have had the chance to stop by our substation, our holiday substation at the Promenade. So we generally do a large substation. It's a big open store. This year we've sort of downsized. So we have a kiosk, and it's on the 1400 block of the Promenade. And we have different officers and our public service officers there throughout the week. And we have different events that are going on. So one of the events that's coming up is going to be on Thursday, and that's going to be a coffee with a cop there. And that starts at 11 a.m. And that is from 11 to 1, I believe. So we'll have some coffees, potentially some snacks, and just an opportunity to talk to some of the neighborhood resource officers and some of the other officers that are involved. And then next week on the 15th, we're going to have holiday cookies and tea, and that's at 3 p.m., and that's also at the kiosk. So if you are available, we encourage you to stop by and say hello. The calendar is actually up on our Instagram page. I can also email it to you, to Lupe or Carla or both, and she can share it with the rest of the group so that you guys have an idea of some of the events and see what your availability is and what you can stop by for. And then the last thing is we will be we'll be hosting one of the tents for La Posada on the 17th. So you'll see us there as well. Our neighborhood resource officers will be there, and we'll have a couple other officers and some of our personnel from the office there to participate. Be there. Do I have any questions from anybody at this time? Perfect. Oh yeah, and one last thing I was just going to say, I don't know exactly what it's entailing as far as hosting the tent, but I know we'll have some goodies, and I'm open to ideas. So please feel free to reach out to us if there's anything in particular that you want to see or are looking for on our behalf.
Is there a way that you can put your contact information in the group chat so those who want to reach out are able to do so, or leave it with Lupe or Carla so that the board members can?
I see. So the chat on here, when I pull it up, it's grayed out. Is
Yes,
it disabled?
It is disabled for board.
Oh, it's disabled? Okay. Okay. So
All right.
what I'll do is I'll send Lupe the calendar, and then on there she can forward it to you. My contact information will be there as well.
Oh, great. Thank you. Are there any questions from the advisory board members about the report from the Santa Monica Police Department? No? Okay. Seeing there are none, we'll move to the Pico Branch Library report with Nancy Bender. Thank you, Bethany.
Hey everyone, I'm Nancy Bender and I'm a librarian 3 with Santa Monica Public Library. I've been with the library about 17 years, but this fall, back in September, I joined our branch team librarians. As you may know, not all of our library branches are open at this point. Our Fairview branch remains closed. We're still doing curbside pickup at our Montana branch, and Pico branch just reopened on December 1st. So I am stationed here at the Pico branch and have spent the last couple of months getting the branch ready to reopen. And we were thrilled to reopen it last week. We've had a lot of visitors since Wednesday when it opened, or Tuesday when it opened. And we're excited to be active in the park again. We're also going to be hosting one of the tents at the La Posada as well. So we're excited about doing that. And, you know, we're working with Carla and her team in getting the annex used again. We have done a few outdoor events here at the park some story times, that type of thing, and we'll continue to expand that. We're still kind of light on our events, and we're still relatively new to live events, but we're gradually making that happen. But we're just so excited to have people back in the building. We were doing curbside for quite some time, so it's great for the doors to be open again and to welcome people into the library.
That's so great to hear. Are there any questions from the board members? For the new board members, just so that you know, normally during these meetings when they're in person, around this time is when flyers are handed out or other things are being shown to us physically, and there's a lot of excitement and engagement because of all the different opportunities that the library is able to present to particularly our youth. It's so tricky to do that over blue jeans, but thank you, Nancy, for trying your best, and I'm super glad that the library is able to be open for people to come in and use this space.
Sure, yeah, and we do have a monthly calendar. It is accessible on our homepage, and we have hard copies here at the library, of course. So yeah, still stuff going on, just on a smaller scale. We're making do with our smaller staff these days. Yeah.
Well, we're grateful that you're still able to be open and operating.
Yeah.
Are there any questions from the board members? No? Okay, if not, then we'll go ahead and move on to our Virginia Avenue Park program and operation highlights with Carla and Eric.
Hey, everybody. So Eric is actually out today, so I am going to share. I did send his report to the board members, so you did have it, but I'll just go through briefly his report. This is since July, since our last meeting. The staff, I just wanted you to see the list of staff. We have Arthur Guzman, our coordinator, Dolores Romo and Erica Turner-Rogers are the specialists. Erica Turner-Rogers is out on leave. She'll be back sometime, we hope, in January. Our as-needed staff are Francis Rodriguez, who's been with us for many years, David Solis, who also has been with us for many years. Newer staff on the as-needed front are Louis Jones, Marie Velda, who actually formerly worked for the library, so we're glad to have her, Jocelyn Flores. And then Eric, of course, is a supervisor. Our numbers are really limited because of the way we have to run our camps due to COVID we have 3 pods and we have to keep, limit those and then manage them. So even though it was 81 kids here, that were enrolled, usually in the summer it's quite a bit more. We also have been doing we have 113 kids enrolled in the after school program now in 3 different pods. And not all of the kids come at the same time. So that's why we were able to enroll more children. And we have a very active middle school program. As you can see here, the teen center was reopened on November 2nd, and we're slowly trying to build back up the teen center. So it's open on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 3 to 7 p.m. Our Artists in Residence program is still pretty much on break. We've been trying to build that back up as well. Marty, who does the painting with us, I think will be coming back in January. He had some surgery, and then some of the other staff are looking to come back, or some of the other artists are looking to come back in the spring. We're hoping. We haven't been able to reopen the recording studio because of COVID, because it's such a small space. There have been a lot of lot more fitness happening at the park. You can see that as well. And then we're opening up for winter camp. Will be open Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of each week. So we're looking that we'll have quite a few kids in that, although sometimes over the Christmas break, there are fewer kids that are around. We participated in National Night Out. We had that here at the park, and then We also had Red Ribbon Week, thanks to our PCG leaders who helped really put that together. So it was really successful. So I'll let PCG talk about that. Any questions about Eric's report?
Yes.
Okay. Yep. Oh, yes.
There was like a teen center kickoff event. How did that go? Maybe you mentioned it, but
Yeah,
how was participation?
It was not significant, unfortunately. So we've been trying to really build that up. I think that Eric has about 12 students enrolled, but there's regularly there are about 2 kids that come on Tuesday and Thursday, and we're hoping to bring that back up. It's not always the same two kids, so it's going to take a little bit of time for us to really build back the teen center, and COVID doesn't help us, and the fact that we are short-staffed.
So there were 2 students at the kickoff, or
yeah,
12? Okay.
No,
okay.
2.
Because I definitely sent the flyer to my son, and him and like one of his best friends had tutoring at that time, but he actually was considering going for the video games or something that was on the flyer. Yeah. So I do appreciate the fact that he was interested, and I hope that we continue to reach out because the students need something positive to do. That's for sure, on Tuesdays and Thursdays and whenever they can.
Yeah.
So any way that I can help, please let me know.
Thank you, Shirley. Yes, we really could. I wanted to give you a few more updates about things that are happening at the park. Facilities wise, we have sunsetted the pantry, and so we are trying to fix up the Thelma Terry big room so that it'll be available for use. It's still being repaired, taking a little bit longer for us to really get it into tip-top shape. We also are not in the position right now to be doing room rentals for birthday parties on the weekend. So just wanted to be, straight up with you. It's a staffing issue, and we're trying to coordinate that through our community recreation division that is overseeing all the room rentals. So hopefully once we have a full complement of facility attendants that can open and close rooms, then birthday parties will start coming back. So let's hope it comes together soon. Another thing you're going to be seeing in the next few months is that the city is migrating all of the web pages to a new platform. So a lot of us are working on how to update and upgrade our web pages, which we're pretty tired for Virginia Avenue Park anyway. So it's a good exercise for us. So you'll be seeing that happen in the next over the next couple months. More that's going on is that we are starting to slowly bring back partner agencies that are willing to come back and provide services. So one of the first ones that has come back is NAMI. Well, actually, they're a new one, and they're doing mental health programs on every other Saturday for parent groups in the teen center. So those are available for you, and I know that they have a Spanish one too. So that's really good. Another thing that just started last week, every Tuesday now, Providence St. John's Community Health Program will be here providing assistance with CalFresh. So they'll be here at the park from 1 to 5 p.m. every Tuesday. You can make an appointment just like you used to with the DPSS person, and they can assist. Their staff speak Spanish as well, and they can help you with any questions you have about CalFresh, but also help you navigate and enroll. So please let your neighbors know if anybody ever asks you a question that they're back, we're up and running with that DPSS support. They can also provide you with and help you navigate Medi-Cal and Medicare. So that's good. We're trying, I think that Emeritus is going to be coming back, but only with outdoor classes starting in the spring. So that's another group that hasn't quite come back yet. And then another program that I'll be announcing probably at our next meeting with the final dates is that we're going to be doing a whole financial literacy program with Haven Neighborhood Services. That'll be doing a 3-part series. So really want to get the word out and ensure that our community members know about it. In terms of upcoming events, we have the, we've been collecting gifts for all the kids in the parent groups and in our after school program for the holidays. So we will be distributing those gifts next Wednesday, December 15th to the kids. They'll be available to come for pickup. And then on Friday night is Posada, which I will let Flu talk about when they do their report. We will also in January be co-hosting and supporting the MLK celebration on January 17th, on Monday, January 17th. So more to come on that as well.
Is that
The
in person?
kitchen. I think a lot of people have questions about the kitchen, and we are moving along with turning the Belmetary kitchen into a commercial kitchen for people to use to start their own businesses. There will be an incubator program there. So we're really deep into finalizing the operator and looking at and working with the health department and like having pre-meetings with the health department to ensure that the kitchen will be able to support and get all the permits it needs to support community's interests. So probably in the new year, we'll be able to have a meeting about that, and I'll have a full presentation for you. And then the last thing I wanted to say, you'll be seeing some more emails coming from me about the Right to Return program. Last year, there was a ruling by the City Council that we would provide a preference to family members of people who had been displaced by the freeway and the Belmar and the Civic Center when they were constructed in the mid 50s and early 60s. So that Right to Return program is going to open in mid-January, where people can apply, and it'll be open for a month. So I'll be sending out information to the board members so you can share it with neighbors and other maybe former residents that you know. And we'll be working closely with some of our local churches that still have, relationship with some of the families who are displaced. So that's what I have right now. And I don't know, are there any questions?
Carla, for the MLK, I know it's the coalition who puts it on, but do you know if it's virtual or it's in person in January?
Okay, so guess what? It's going to be both. So they're going to do, the actual presentation is going to be virtual, but then they're going to have a resource fair like they've often had, and it's going to be at the park. And then we're trying to work with the library to see about broadcasting the recorded portion, and so then people can look around and see all the resources. So I think it'll be really nice. And I know Andrina, as part of PCG, is on the committee. So she'll be able to, she can talk about that too in her report.
Thank you.
Carla.
Any other questions?
See, I have a, can you hear me? I have a question. Did you said about the programs like NAMI, are they gonna be in person or still gonna be by the
Those are all in person. Everything I was talking about is going to be in person. So NAMI is already back in person. Yes.
Okay, thank you. I didn't
And
understand.
St. John's, that's back in person.
Oh, thank you.
When they're helping with the DPSS.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any other questions for Carla? No, I definitely want to say, Carla, to whatever extent that the advisory board can be helpful for some of the events coming up between now and the next quarterly meeting, please let us know. I know you send us emails, but in particular, the Wednesday, December 15th event, if you need our help with that. And some of the other stuff that's coming up, please let us know.
Yeah, that would be really great. So we'll send you the invite for when that's happening, and those that are available to come, we'd love to have you come to help give out the gifts.
Excellent. And then I'm just assuming everything is like it was for the Halloween event, masks and ideally vaccinated or a negative PCR test. Is that right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions before we proceed with the parent group liaison reports?
Yeah,
Okay.
I just
remind.
Carla mentioned last time about the moving of a Chase Park closure. So Chase Park at Virginia Avenue Park. When does that gonna start?
So I'll talk about that. I put that as an agenda item. So after the parent group.
All right.
Great. Thanks for bringing that up, Alema. We'll talk about it during the item number 3. Are there any other questions? Comments? No? Okay. So let's go ahead and proceed with the parent group liaison report with Familias Latinas Unidas, who will be presenting a report on their behalf tonight.
Buenas noches. Voy a hacer mi reporte en español y me gustaría si me pudiera traducir. Josefina, ¿está disponible traducir?
Aquí estoy, sí. Ajá.
Sí, ok.
So,
el reporte lo voy a hacer en español.
Carmen is going to do her presentation in Spanish and I will be translating.
Thank you.
Okay.
Gracias.
Mi nombre es Carmen Cruz y soy una de las representantes de la mesa directiva de la familia Latinas Unidas en conjunto con Claudia, que está aquí presente. También ella y yo somos las representantes de este comité y de este grupo.
Carmen Cruz is here along with Claudia Vasquez, who are both members of the leadership, what we call Mesa Directiva, and they're happy to be here.
Hoy en día le vamos a dar un reporte acerca de lo que hemos venido haciendo en nuestro grupo, cómo hemos venido trabajando y qué hemos hecho.
Our report will include an overview of the things that we've done as a group, as well as what we've accomplished, to summarize.
Nuestras reuniones las tenemos cada 2 semanas. Nuestras reuniones son virtuales. Regularmente nos reunimos en el Parque Virginia, pero debido a la pandemia lo hacemos a través de virtualmente.
We've been meeting virtually due to the pandemic. We meet every other week. Normally we would meet at Virginia Avenue Park.
Le voy a dar el reporte desde el mes de septiembre hasta ahora.
My report will be from September to present.
Durante nuestras reuniones hemos tenido la visita de la organización CHIRLA, que es una organización dedicada a la inmigración.
One of the first presenters that we've had at our meeting is a representative that is an advocacy group for immigrants' rights, and that's CHIRLA.
También hemos tenido la presencia de la señora Tara del Community Corporation, que nos ha venido a dar información acerca de sus edificios, acerca de sus viviendas.
Also, Tara from Community Corporation has been a presenter at our group to discuss housing.
Y también hemos tenido la visita de los oficiales de policía, la oficial Jessica Medina y el oficial Meléndez, que nos vinieron a traer información acerca de lo que pasa en nuestro vecindario.
We've also had 2 officers, as mentioned, Menendez and Navarro, who present what is going on in the community.
En nuestra última reunión que tuvimos este viernes pasado, tuvimos la oportunidad de tener al jefe de policía, el señor Ramón Batista. Fue una gran oportunidad que tuvimos de conversar con él.
At our last meeting, we were fortunate to have at our meeting the chief of police, Ramon Bautista, and we had an opportunity to have him on our meeting and get to know him and discuss some issues.
Ahora le diré acerca de los eventos que hemos tenido en el mes de septiembre. De septiembre 15 a octubre 15 tuvimos la oportunidad de participar con la herencia hispana, el mes de la herencia hispana.
In the month of September, we participated along with a committee, Herencia Hispana, to be part of the September celebrations for heritage.
Nuestro grupo participó y dio información acerca de cómo nosotros celebramos la independencia de nuestros países.
FLU participated by placing some tables to share with the community how we each celebrate independence in our respective Latin countries.
En el mes de noviembre nosotros tuvimos la oportunidad de tener nuestra primera reunión en persona celebrando el Día de los Muertos.
In the month of November, we had the opportunity to celebrate Día de los Muertos, and that was one of our very first in-person events.
Y ahora en este mes de diciembre vamos a tener la oportunidad de tener las posadas, que va a ser un evento público.
And in December, we plan on having las posadas. It will be open to the public, and it will be in person.
Y este evento va a celebrarse el día 17 de diciembre, iniciando a las 5 de la tarde.
The event will be celebrated on December 17th at 5:30 in the evening.
En esta celebración tenemos de invitados en colaboración con el Departamento de Policía y la biblioteca aquí en el Parque Virginia.
Some of our partners include the Santa Monica Police Department as well as the library that will be supporting the event there at Virginia Avenue Park.
Así que todos ustedes están invitados para este día.
All of you are invited for this celebration.
Y este ha sido el reporte de Familias Latinas Unidas. Muchas gracias.
And this concludes the report of Familias Latinas Unidas. Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias. Thank you so much, Carmen, and thank you, Josefina, for the translation. Are there any questions from the board members for Carmen about her report? No? Okay, seeing there are none, thank you again. Can we hear from a representative from the Parent Connection Group from PCG? Oh, sorry, did someone have a question? No? Okay. Who would like to give a presentation for PCG this evening?
Okay, I will. Hello, everyone of the Virginia Park Avenue Advisory Board. I want to say thank you again for the invitation. I'm going to be the main speaker, but I have two people on your board, Ebenetia and Shirley, that I would like for them to speak as well. So here's what has taken place from during the summertime up until recent. We focused for 2021 on restructuring the group. That's from the bylaws to doing a complete binder to restructuring in training, empowering our Black families in financial wealth. We're looking at generational wealth. So we brought in, actually I want to say I added to the group and we started calendarizing different things that we were doing between personal and business. We also went into the area of home budgeting, personal taxes, business taxes. So I brought in a CPA who used to work for the IRS that's able to explain all questions. We chose at that time to have like an open forum as opposed to doing questions through a chat. We wanted to make everybody feel comfortable and free enough where they can ask any question, no matter how large or how small. But moving forward, the one thing that we have noticed within the Black community, we're really working on building financial wealth. So that means we have to look within our own culture to see different areas that we are lacking, and to also look and see what areas that are great needs. So we brought in Maurice Maxwell. He spoke to us on real estate and how to purchase property, from homes to small businesses into growing into commercial buildings. We also are bringing in the Los Angeles Urban League. They have 4 different programs, youth-driven programs. They have 40-something board members, and those board members have their own companies. So they provide training for youths, and after the training is done, it's 4 to 6 weeks, then they hire in those youths anywhere between ages 13 up until age 24. So a couple of the programs is Biz Quiz. It helps the kids to develop any form of business that they want to open up. They also have a construction business. They also have an entertainment business. So what they do, once again, is they train you, they certify you, and then they hire you into their company. So it's definitely a win-win. And this is really good because it's ongoing. The other thing that we looked at that's been really interesting is how we spend our money. So because currency has changed, we brought in, Ebenesia brought in someone, and they were speaking on Bitcoin. We also spoke on PayPal and Cash Apps, traditional banking versus check cashing. All these different mediums of how we use and spend our money is vitally important in today's society, because we have to now become more flexible because we're in a digital world. So separate from that, I wanted to say the last event that we did was truly awesome. Ebenesia, I want her to speak on that. And what's coming up soon will be the Greens Festival. Hajar can speak on that. And then after that is Shirley, Our Girls Rock. They rock every single time this event takes place. So I just want to say thank you again. I wanted to give Ebenesia congratulations for her new position with the Virginia Park Advisory Board. And I just want to say thank you so much. Any questions?
Thank you for your report. Thank you for speaking this evening. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, these programs on ongoing basis or just happen once in a year or so? How they gonna happen? So if somebody wanna participate, or we wanna invite somebody else on those programs, how we gonna get hold of it?
Excellent question. So you can get in contact directly with Los Angeles Urban League. So they have set programs throughout the year. So they want to make sure that students are coming in at the same time, they're graduating at the same time, they're getting their certificates of completion around the same time. So once again, that's the Los Angeles Urban League. We also will be promoting them a little bit more via Zoom. It's like so safe right now. I'm loving this, right? As opposed to being in person. So anytime you can get in contact with them direct. If you need any more help, you can get in contact with PCG and we'll give you the link as well.
Thank you.
Oh, and I'm sorry, I forgot to add one more thing. The Martin Luther King Coalition that I am now part of, the celebration will be taking place January 17th. So as Carla mentioned, Inside the auditorium located on Wilshire Boulevard will be closed to all public. The only people that will be at that auditorium, which will be live streaming, would either be the entertainers, the orchestra, and or the MC at that time. Simultaneously at Virginia Park, there'll be tables, and at those tables, it'll be a table for PCG. There'll be a table, if available, for flu. More than likely, Santa Monica PD will be present at that time, and we're still working on to find out whichever other vendors are interested in being part of that coalition, part of that day of celebration.
Hi, Andrina, it's Shirley. For the question, was that question from Alemu, maybe?
Yes.
The question, okay. Because I too would like to know how we could find out more about Parent Connection Group upcoming agendas, because it sounded like his question was about, and correct me, Alemu, correct me if I'm wrong, Alemu. The question was about, you know, the presentations happening at Parent Connection Group, like with real estate, with Bitcoin, with all the wonderful things that it sounds like Parent Connection Group is doing. And I too think it would be good if there was a way to post some things on Virginia Park's website, if there was a parent link or something. But I wanted to just clarify whether he wanted to know about Parent Connection Group programming or LA Urban League programming.
Thank you, Shirley. That's exactly what I wanted, to get direct information posted through Virginia Avenue Park or somewhere. Both of them, not particular. We gotta have access, contact information or program throughout the year when it's gonna happen, so we can have access and share with our communities. So that's what I'm asking for, all programs, not just particular one. Thank you.
So we have a link. Every Thursday we have our meetings. It's from 5:30 to 7 o'clock. We can send you the link. If you can, put your email information in the chat, and we'll make sure that Michael Jackson gets a hold of it. He'll be forwarding you the link every Thursday. Sometimes we keep that same link maybe for 3 Thursdays back to back. Other times it changes. It's in accordance to how the park allocates those links. And at that time, we are sending out flyers via digital, and you'll see what's on the agenda that's upcoming for the following Thursday. So we're really working on the family as a unit. Thank you, Shirley, for clarifying.
That was perfect. Thank you for letting us know that with the Thursday meeting link, we would also see an agenda letting us know what's upcoming. So thank you for that. And I want to say, board, to the park board, that I was able to represent the park board at Red Ribbon Week event, the event that happened the week of Halloween. Over 37 students, a beautiful partnership with Santa Monica Police Department, Parent Connection Group, and it was chaired by our new board member, Ebenetia Fisher, like her 5th or 6th year doing a drug-free week for the kids at Virginia Avenue Park. And she allowed me to speak on behalf of our board to welcome the students to the event. So I wanted to say thank you to her and let the board know that I was able to welcome and represent our board there. And it was a wonderful event with a helicopter flyover and with a K9 unit, and a lot of really good stuff that the kids walked away with, water bottles and backpacks, with a bunch of candy and snacks. I know my son loved it. So thank you again, Ebenetia and PCD.
Yeah, if I can just add a couple of things about Red Ribbon Week, about this year's event. This year's event was very important to me and special to me because we actually got a chance to link with the DEA in our region as well. And it was really awesome. We got to meet with one of the agents. The kids loved him. And they were so awesome and so eager to help. And from what I've found out, they're going to continue working with the Santa Monica PD on other ventures. So that was a great connection.
Shirley, can you speak on Our Girls Rock since that's up and coming?
Did you have Hazard for the Greens Festival?
She's right here.
Because I think that would be February. But we have plenty of time, Andrina, coming up. I hope this isn't our last meeting before February or March for our board, right, Carla? But I'll totally be ready to speak on that maybe in a month or so.
Okay.
Are there any other comments or topics or conversations tied to PCG and flu before we move on? I'm so excited. Normally during this time, we have like a calendar of all the events that we can all see and get really motivated and excited about what we're doing for particularly our youth at the park and their families. So I know we have to wait until the retreat for those pieces of paper to go back and forth. But it's really exciting and inspiring to hear, even during times of COVID and pandemic, that there's still events, there's still a community, that we're still there for our youth and our families. All right, so if there are no other comments or questions or concerns, then we'll move on to the discussion and action items. Oh, sorry, go ahead. That's okay.
I did want to make it clear that that event for Red Ribbon Week was the first in-person event that, and only in-person event that PCG did.
One of many to come in the future. Just the first. Things are getting back. Thank you, though, for that clarification. Okay, so moving on to our discussion and action items. The first thing to discuss is the report and possible action about installing chessboards at the Virginia Avenue Park. Carla, would you like to present, or do you have another colleague?
Yeah, no, it'll be me. I'm doing all the reports today. So a few weeks ago, and actually let me just look at this report that I have, there was actually an article in the paper, and there have been a lot of community members that have spoken at the Rec and Parks Commission, indicating that the Chess Park, which is down by the beach, is really, there's a lot of inappropriate behavior happening at the space. And so several community members requested that they remove the benches there and fence it off for a period of time, and asked the city to come back, asked staff to come back with some options on what can be done there. So they are considering, they have done a little bit of analysis, but understanding, like we have all said, that since we are in a pandemic right now, we're still not quite out of it, and the fact that the city has cut back staff, we aren't in a position to gather all the data and survey community members on what's an appropriate use for that space if it doesn't remain a chess park. That they're really sort of in a little bit of a holding pattern. They're really trying to just see what can we do interimly until we have enough staff and access to community members to understand what is the best protocol. So they did reach out. They are going to be presenting this and bringing us back to the RPC, I think in January, and it will end up going to council for consideration, whether or not what is the disposition of a chess park. And they're really just floating some different ideas. So they reached out to me at the park to see about, because there was actually an article in the Santa Monica Daily Press by one of the teens from Samo High who was making who's a real chess lover, who wanted all of the boards to be placed at Virginia Avenue Park. So we were like, well, that's not quite something that we would be able to host all of them, because a lot of our picnic tables are used by birthday parties and things. But we do have some picnic tables that are in the farmers market area that can be installed, and they could install them. So what the RPC and staff of the RPC have wanted me to ask all of you is to know what you think might be any opportunities or challenges to having some chessboards here at the park. And really, this is very early stage of their, exploration, but they really would like the advisory board's feedback on what you think as being frequent users of Virginia Avenue Park. What do you think about having chessboards, and what are the opportunities and the challenges? So
thank you, Carla, for that. As recognizing it's 8 o'clock, I want to try to limit our discussion on this to say it's like 5 to 10 minutes, just because we have 2 other big items to discuss that are also very important. But if there's more excitement and passion, obviously we can continue this conversation. So as someone who I live near Ocean Park and Main Street. So I have gone and used and frequented the chess park that is by the beach over the years. I've lived in or around this area since 2000. It is not a place where I feel comfortable bringing my daughter, not when she was born in 2008 and not now while she's 13 years old. It's still, it's relatively unsafe. However, one of the things that I think is great about it is that the ability to use the boards, so either people will bring their own or the tops of the tables have that kind of chess board already set up. So I in terms of like actual pieces and things moving around, like to the extent they can put on the actual top of the picnic tables or the top of the tables already have those kind of grids. Like it's something also that's kind of common in Washington Square Park in New York. But it's a a financial improvement. It would require some cost to do that. Otherwise, it is highly likely that the boards, the pieces will be moved. People who are regular chess players often bring their own pieces. It's very common for them to have their own pieces and their own timekeepers. It's sort of part of that community. And I do know that both in New York and here in Santa Monica, that the unhoused community playing chess is something that very much brings vitality and an opportunity to be social with other individuals and does bring a sense of community. So I want to make sure that we're aware of that the chess playing community would not just be students, but would also be the unhoused community and our neighbors in that respect. So those are just some initial thoughts on this. Are there other board members who have thoughts or questions? Please feel free to go ahead and unmute yourself and speak. Gloria?
See, it sounds very interesting and like very good for the kids, especially for the teenagers. But I have the concern too about the other people coming and Virginia Park. There is a lot of little ones that come to the park, and I don't know. And thinking on that, it's scary to me. I don't know if there will be like how can I say, a limit of people or limit of the age of the participants, or only for people from the park, or how is that going to be?
I do want to say that some of the behaviors that have been happening and that Barbie witnesses at Chess Park are not by the chess players.
Oh.
It's because of the proximity, I think, to the beach, and that they're open tables. So the thought was, if we added the if we just added the boards to the existing tables, we're not increasing the ones that are in front of the library. It's not increasing any additional tables or anything. But I'm going to take down your concerns, Gloria, because that's what we want to be sure that everybody, knows that, and that the RPC understands. I also wanted to tell you that a few years ago, if you remember, Sylvia was doing a little board game lending program. Do you remember? She did the chess, and then everybody could play chess outside. And that was it was nice. Now, of course, it was all students, right? So it was really fun. So I know that over the years, people have said that they would love to have chess boards out there. So, different community members like, oh, it'd be great. I'd like to play chess. So it's, that's just additional information for everyone.
I think one of the mechanisms is you could definitely have the actual pieces being checked out through the library. So you'd have to have at least a library card in order to do that. I think during times of COVID, you want to make sure everything is sanitized before it's distributed to another person. But in terms of ease, the actual board, it is much easier if they're already part of the tabletops of any surface. That also will kind of limit which tables would be available for playing chess unless someone brings their own board, because you're not necessarily turning every table into a chess table. You're just turning certain numbers of tables into the chess table. And there are organizations out there that do support youth and chess, and in particular, minority or disadvantaged youth. So I would encourage RPC to reach out to those organizations. I think there's even one that was like based out of LA from a couple that were like Holocaust survivors or something. I'm happy to.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'm happy to give you that information. I can find it later. But there are organizations that support youth chess if that's what we want the focus to be. But I feel like the baseline is sort of, safety and accessibility, and then making sure, people know how to use the actual pieces, and like, are there age restrictions on who could check out the board pieces or the board itself? I think it's a great idea. I mean, if there's a way to like rope off certain tables that are only close to the library versus those that are further out.
Yeah, no, those are really good suggestions. And the only boards that are under consideration, or the only tables, are the ones in the farmers market area. So that's cool. Did want to say that the checking out, don't want Nancy to be concerned. We're not. I think that the philosophy of the other chess park was that people bring their own pieces, But if we wanted to have some, they would only be available when our spaces are open. Like, let's say the Park Center office, it would only be when we're there to be able to loan those pieces out. So, that's another thing. But it would be great to hear from all the board members. Did you want to go next, Ebenetia?
Yeah, I wanted to say I love the idea of having some chess space out there for the kids. It reminds me of certain parks I've seen where the community was coming together, different people just sitting down and playing a match of chess together. I think it's a great way to engage a lot of those community members that don't actually interact with each other on a day-to-day basis. I love the idea, and I love the whole scenery of it being in front of the library. I do agree that we have to make sure that it's safe and stuff like that. But yeah, if we can, I think we should do it.
I agree with Ebenetia, especially for the teens. I love chess clubs. I think our kids of color maybe don't get exposed to chess clubs in school, so for our community to fill that gap would be great. I would just want more permanent lighting like I see now on Cloverfield there. It looks beautiful for the holidays, how they have the trees lit up. If you haven't seen it, right across from the market, the 365, it's well lit and it looks safe. And I wish there was a way to have kind of more permanent lighting in the dark pockets of Virginia Park. And I know we've talked about that in the past, but that's what came to mind for me was when it gets dark earlier, like it did a month ago at like 4 p.m., how could we ensure that that area was well lit? And then I would like to scrap the whole idea of being able to check out pieces like for the public. If it's our teen center, that's one thing. For our teen center, for our elementary program youth, but the public, I want to say we shouldn't do that. That's all.
That makes a lot of sense, Charlie. Thank you. Arcadio?
Yeah, following up with the chess things, I think that's a good idea, a great way to have an opportunity for young uh, persons to be able to get involved, like just mentioned. And one thing is like, what about those uh, personal youth who willing to learn how to play chess? Is anyone gonna stay there to actually help them out, teach them how to play chess? I'm just curious in that aspect. What if someone else, like people from community, might not know how to play chess? They want to involve. So that's another way we can think about not only like put them up there, just throw them up there without either get involved as a community to help the rest of people to learn how to play chess. And in terms of lighting, I totally agree with her. I was telling Carmen the other day, like I told her, they're missing the rest of the tree, that side and that side, but it's absolutely looks beautiful, and that's going to be a great opportunity to have more lights around that area. That's it for me.
Thank you for those comments. Rosalina or Gloria or Alemu, did you have any comments as well?
Yeah, I'm Rosalinda. I have 2 kids, so for me, chess is very good. I like new things. I like the way, because the other way it's the community. It has something more to do, like play basketball and still. But now we all in risk, and I hope everything is gonna be okay. But the idea, I love it. I love new things, and I hope everything is gonna be okay. And the space is good, so I hope everything is gonna be successful. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a similar idea too. I raised earlier because I heard that some people are interested and they're hoping to see sooner. So, especially when you have this kind of games at Virginia Avenue Park, it will be a good opportunity for community members, different communities who do not know each other, brings together and they know each other and interact better and know each other. So it could be one opportunity. So to bring our community to know their cultures and how they think, and so on. So that's the why I brought up early, forgetting it was on agenda. So I love it. I believe Carla knows how to handle. The place is perfect. If it is, more people interested in, we might get more, and we might talk about placing in library, and the people gonna check out like books. But for the beginning, the way we present, it's okay to have certain on tables, so people just start and let us know. Let's see the progress. Then we want to talk and suggest more to have if we need more. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to thank the board for all of their comments and suggestions. And Carla, it sounds like overall there is great interest in us collaborating with some sort of program to provide chess for our community, maybe even providing pieces to our youth through the teens or through the younger students, supporting intergenerational learning and collaboration, but definitely with a focus on safety, both with lighting as well as safety of the actual pieces because of COVID, and then also accessibility. So I'm excited to see what happens next. Let us know how we can be part of these conversations moving forward. And I will get in touch with you separately with information about some nonprofits that do support youth in minority and disadvantaged communities learning chess and learning to play chess.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any other questions or comments? No? Okay. Well, so, sorry, did someone have a, no? Okay. Well, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda. The report and possible action on below market housing for historically displaced households pilot program. Carla, are you also reporting on this?
No.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay, so let me share my screen. I'll show you the web page, which is very basic. I thought they were going to be, it was going to be much more robust, but it isn't. Let's see. Oh, it's a Chrome tab. That's what I want. And okay. So can you see this page? Yes?
Yes, your screen is being shared.
Okay. So we have just started now the launching of the publicity to get the word out to the community that we will be accepting applications for people who were historically displaced due to the Civic Center, the Civic Auditorium, and the 10 freeway. And so this is going to be a pilot program that will provide priority in city-funded housing and inclusionary housing for up to 100 applicants from households or descendants of households, children or grandchildren, who were displaced. So this is really a small program. It's a very small step towards making amends for the rather, bold displacement that was placed on people, forcing them to move for the freeway and the Civic Center. And this is going to allow those that are eligible for the below market housing, so that is housing in CCSM and community corporation buildings predominantly, for you to have the higher priority and can get an apartment sooner. And this will mean that even if you do not live or work in Santa Monica, but you were one of the people or descendants of someone who was displaced, that you would then get the same level of priority. There's still lots of discussion around this. This is just a pilot program. Lots of people, and I'm sure that Ebenetia and others on the board can speak to some of the concerns about this because you've all participated in focus groups around it. But as I said, this is a pilot project to see if this is possible to help families that had been displaced and offer to their descendants the opportunity to move back to Santa Monica. So the applications are going to be available from January 18th to February 21st. And at that time, people who are descendants just need to apply. They do not need to show proof of the fact that their family lived in a particular house or anything to that effect at this time, not during the application period. They just need to apply and say, yes, my grandfather lived here and I would like to be able to apply. And then from those first 100 applications, then staff will work with them individually to help them identify and get the proof they need to show that they actually had, they have some tangible proof that shows that they live there. Some of the things that we're looking at in terms of supporting people with showing proof include help access to school records, we're trying to help streamline and make access available through like old telephone books and things like that. We're really trying to find, and also through census records that we can potentially help families show the proof that they lived or their descendants lived, their ancestors lived in those places. So, as I said, this is not a very nice looking page, but it is, it's the beginning. So what I wanted to really hear from all of you about is how do we, if you have any additional thoughts on how we can reach more community members or former community members so that they can be aware of this opportunity. And if you have any other comments that you want to make to me, I'm glad to report back. But the big thing is that I wanted to let you all know about this. This is something that has touched many people's lives. You may know them. You may know people who were touched by this, and would like to get your help in helping us to, identify, support, and enable people to apply. So I open it up now to questions and any suggestions you might have.
Great. Are there board members who'd like to speak? Oh, Benicia, I see you unmuted, and Gloria.
I did have a question. Have you guys considered reaching out to the churches between the ones out here in Santa Monica and the ones in Venice, because there was always a big connection between a lot of those families from Venice and Santa Monica?
Yes. Thank you, Benicia. Thank you.
Gloria, did you have a comment or question?
Are these notices gonna be like in the Santa Monica paper, maybe for those persons that have a family? Because I think I don't know if there are still people from that time around.
Yeah.
On the Santa Monica paper, or maybe in the library, or else maybe at the church. Yeah, that's the only thing I could think that they can find more people.
And then also, do you know if the school district has access to alumni? I feel like the Santa Monica high school community, perhaps they might be able to reach out to families, or SMC even.
Yeah, I think the alumni associations would be good.
And that is that a specific, right, for the people that were displaced?
Yeah, it's specific to the people who were displaced, or whose parents and grandparents were just displaced because of the freeway. So this is from the mid 1950s to the early 1960s. I would say mostly from like 1955 to 63. But as Benicia pointed out, and Shirley has shared with me in the past too, a lot of our those community members still come to church, or were coming to church here in Santa Monica. They stayed connected through the churches.
Yeah.
So, there's something also like what happened with my grandparents. That was in the early 1900s, but they lived right off of Spruce and Main, over there right where the railroad tracks were. So they weren't really involved in the Pico area. They were so farther close to the water, and what they experienced was just the same, but yet it was more south of Pico as opposed to being north of Pico where the Civic Center was located. So when I was looking at what you had stated as far as providing school records, telephone book, or the census, many of those is true. And what Ebenetia was saying also is not only the churches, but many of these members are churches through Bishop Omer Church, which is in Inglewood, Bishop Charles E. Blake Church, which is in Los Angeles. So those churches should have some form of records as well. Sometimes it's the Mormon churches that are keeping track. I'm part Blackfoot Indian, so we go in that direction. They keep track of records as well, you know, sometimes when it comes down to the marriages and the birthings. So that might be another search. I know the main library, those librarians, they are awesome researchers there when it comes down to certain parts of information.
Also, Carla, I have a suggestion. On, for instance, on 16th Street, right there where the freeway is at Michigan, at the end there are residents who still live there, African American residents, who they may be 80-something years old, but for the most part, they have an oral history they can share. And my grandmother got to Santa Monica in the 30s. And so she was having her children in the 50s. And my grandmother used to talk about her friends who lost their house down the street for the 10 freeway. Her house was just 6 houses up from the 10 freeway. But she would be 93 now if she was still alive. And her friends who lived across the street, they're still there, Black people. My suggestion is for the city to get out and canvass and go talk to people who still live there face to face. They're not going to be online. They're not going to see the little flyer I just saw. And literally ask them, do you know? And they know. So I just wanted to say that, Barbie, I know we have a small amount of time for these discussion items, but that was my suggestion, is to literally go talk to the people who still live on that block.
No, I think this is incredibly important, and I'm actually really excited that Santa Monica is doing something. I wish we had more resources dedicated to finding these families
because
and their grandchildren.
80 years later, right? Like it's 75, 80 years later, Santa Monica.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, look at that. Like I know the data's there. It's sort of, do we have, I'm thinking ideally, could we even consult with like a law school? Like Loyola Law School has a social justice clinic. Wouldn't this be a great way for them to connect with generations of these families who were displaced and inform them of their rights and see if any of them would like to benefit from this program? I mean, look at these. This is amazing.
Aren't they old? That's in Santa Monica. That was my grandmother's siblings in Santa Monica, one of the houses that was destroyed. This other picture was my mom when she was right there on the pier. Is that crazy?
I mean, even the news, like you could reach out to, Elix Michelson or some of these other news reporters who care about these social justice issues and have them just through, word of mouth. I think it's a great story that Santa Monica could show that it's really leading and trying to do some restorative justice.
Right. I don't know how many older shops that are still open that I know. I went to Ray's one time and got into a conversation with the gentleman and his wife, and they have been in Santa Monica since the 50s or before, and was just telling me some of the history about, this side of Santa Monica. And, that was at Ray's. Like there's certain people that still circle around some of the stores that, and they may have family that was displaced. So definitely if we could reach out to I think what Shirley said is so valid and so important to canvas the areas if we can, and then also reach these mom and pop shops that may still have their business, stuff like that. Definitely stuff like that.
And I'm assuming the city's also working with its elected officials, like working with Senator Ben Allen and Richard Bloom, who can mobilize maybe some state resources, help get in touch with some of these families.
So one question is, does everything have to be filtered through community corporation, right?
Yeah, I just want to say, Andrina, this is a discussion for the board members.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. But thank you for letting me know. I appreciate it.
Arcadio has a question.
Yes. It's regarding like data for those displaced people who live during that time. Does the city or the state or that federal who actually collect those data during that time, there might be a way to retrieve those information for those people who actually were displaced during the time. So that way we can they'll be able to reach out their siblings or grandkids in order to be eligible for those programs. And in terms of the program, talking about the program, what are the main or three major areas that they're going to be provided proof of that they're from those family who were displaced? How they're going to prove that they're part of that family? I suppose in the questionnaire you should ask those information.
So are you asking what kinds of proof are people going to have to show?
Correct. That is what kind of proof they're going to provide.
Yeah. I think ultimately they would, okay, in an ideal world, you would have a letter with the return address on it, of something addressed to your grandfather with, you have the envelope with the address on it, or you have a utility bill. But in lieu of that, we've been looking at all kinds of other ancillary or, other ways of doing it. Like if the school would share emergency cards or any kind of records, like from what the parents had to write in the address, right? We're also looking at, we looked at the death certificates. Like let's say somebody passed away and then during that period of time, and it has the address of where the people lived. And the only reason we thought of that is because we have Woodlawn Cemetery, right? So they have those records, so we could look at that. So that's a kind of thing. And then they're working with some group out of USC that has access to all of these census records. And so they're trying to help us with analyzing those. And then we've also are working with Carolyn and Bill Edwards. And did you know that there was a directory to Santa Monica, Black Santa Monica directory, people who lived here and of, all the African Americans who lived here. It was really very interesting. It was I think it was more from the 40s, but they had different later issues. So that's really pretty cool.
That's interesting.
I love the idea of going out, though. I'm getting ready. I was just thinking what I'm going to wear. I'm going to identify myself. Anyway, yes,
Yes, just to comment, this is really interesting. I'm happy to hear this because I read a few articles and online information I got indicates that a lot of people, Black community lived in Santa Monica by the beach and forced to move in some way earlier than you mentioned. And also this was particularly known by most Santa Monicans. They've been forced to leave because of the development. So it is better to have justice delayed than left over. So it is really encouraging to hear this news. I'm really happy about that. And the other thing is, as Barbie mentioned, we have officials elected. They have access to information. They can ask county, city records, even who was displacing them to develop. Those people should have information because they should have been compensated some way, or the list been out there for houses or places, removed, people removed from there. So state officials, city officials should have access for that information. That could be one source of information. The other could be, I'm sure there are researches done by nearby universities concerning those developments and the social crisis happened, because this is what universities do. Somebody should be there doing those kind of researches, and if you contact universities in some way, I am hoping that they're going to have all the lists and all the problems and whatever consequences those projects caused and so on, to suggest the better way to address those crises. That's what my just expectations. So those could be a source of information, and it should not be hard. I think a city want to help these guys. I don't think it's going to be hard to prove for these people. Just we want to find a way to reach them out and encourage them to apply. If they apply, I'm 100% sure they're going to find a way to prove their parents were there. That's all I want to say.
Thank you, Alimo. I feel like we've talked about this for about 20 minutes. It's a good chunk of time, but I do want to recognize this as a really important issue. And if anyone has additional thoughts or concerns about it, please, let Carla know. I think right now the emphasis is just how do we let people know? How do we let as many family members know that this is an option for them? And then as we try to quote unquote, prove that someone qualifies, that's sort of the next step. Right now, it's just how do we let people know that they can apply? So are there any other additional thoughts or questions about this? Otherwise, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda. Carla, is there anything else that you need from us on this at this point?
No, thank you very much. I will send, I think some of you have seen the film that Paulina Sagun did, but I'm going to send you the link again. So that's a little bit about this as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for your insightful comments and your personal stories. I think that shows the importance of why we have to do this. And it's been too many years too late for the city to do something. So thank you for sharing. The last item on the agenda before the adjournment is the discussion and possible action to schedule and plan a retreat for the next quarterly meeting. So normally we do a full day. It's about 6 hours with a break in between for lunch, where we go through all the major committees and the roles and the different programs and different organizations that are and agencies that are part of the park. Because of COVID, we weren't able to do that in person, and we've been kind of delaying doing it so that we could do it in person. I think that because time is of the essence and it's already pretty late and everyone's been on this call for about 2 hours, I'm proposing that Carla and Shirley and I can talk with Carla, come up with a couple of dates, a couple of Saturdays in the next few months, maybe February, March, Saturdays that do not conflict with the school holidays. So not President's Break weekend, not Spring Break weekend, not Easter weekend. And we can hopefully come up with a date. We can send that out through a doodle poll so that everyone can sort of identify which of these open dates work best. And that's what I want to propose so that we don't all have to pull out our calendars right now and try to come up with a date that works. Does anyone have any thoughts or questions or comments about that as a possible process?
So,
sorry. No, go ahead, Shirley.
That sounds. Yeah, we should go as you said, Barbie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shirley, did you also, Gloria?
Yeah, I agree with what you said. I think it will be more easy.
I think so. And I also want to make sure that we have the approval from the city to do it in person. It makes such a huge difference being able to do this in person. I would love to be able to share space with you either indoors or outdoors, where we can sit and talk and come together on our community. So it might not happen until end of February or earlier mid-March, but we do have 3 months to come up with a date that could work. Shirley, did you also have a question or thought on this?
Just a thought. I agree with you, and it sounds retreat. It's a business retreat board for us to get organized, for you to be oriented to your role on the board, and we spend quite a bit of time planning our work for the year. And what committees and different things, as Gloria remembers, different things that we want to do for our community as a board. So it is important, and I do prefer we are in person if possible. But I totally will get with you, Barbie and Carla, to throw some dates out there.
Excellent. All right. So that being said, are there any other questions or thoughts about the planning of a retreat between now and the end of next quarter? Otherwise, we'll connect with Carla and we'll be sending you a couple of possible dates to see what works best for most board members. Before we adjourn, I just want to say thank you everyone who has stepped up to be a part of this board. It is a huge thing for us to have your participation and your engagement. We could not do this without you. The community needs you. So thank you for stepping up, particularly in such difficult times with COVID and the pandemic and school closures and work and everything. And thank you, Carla, for doing all of the training of the new board members, for taking that time and doing that one-on-one. I'm sorry I couldn't be a part of that, but I really appreciate that you did take that time and meet with everyone. And I look forward to meeting everyone in person, hopefully at our next meeting at our retreat. Other than that, is there a motion from the floor for adjournment?
I also want to say thank you to Lupe for hanging in there with us this late
Yes,
evening.
thank you, Lupe.
Thank you, Lupe.
And thank you, Josefina, for translating today.
And I'm also proud of the diversity of our board in all areas, having men and women. I'm sure we have one of the most diverse park boards in Santa Monica that we could be proud of. So I thank you, and I move that we adjourn our meeting.
All right. Is there a second?
Yeah, I second it.
All right. Thank you, Gloria. All right. All those in favor? Let's adjourn. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful holiday, and I look forward to seeing everyone in the new year. Thank you so much, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Happy holidays.
Bye. Happy holidays.
Thank you, Carla. Thank you, Barbie.
Everyone.